Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday, September 5th, 9 a.m. So, checking in on, Netflix. I think I'm cursed. So, Netflix actually bouncing right between my lines. This is the downtrend of the wedge. This is the bottom trend of the wedge. And you can see it rejected twice from the top there, right from this line pivot I had at 294.57, rejecting right from there, closing and bouncing right off the bottom of the wedge, which is pretty funny, but also just everyone jokes about how I like to play short, but then I try to swing something long because I like the setup and it's not a big deal. My risk reward was on point for this trade, so I don't, I'm not worried about the trade, but it's just so funny like watching it open higher this morning and then dump because it reminds me of the day that I was holding NVDA at 160, like it closed at 160 and I was holding it and the chart was looking just fine and then it gapped down to 133 that day and traumatized me of holding things long. And so here we go again with Netflix, but position sizing is on point for this trade, so there is no issue. I'll be down like $10. So let's start with SPY. Huge gap up coming on SPY. Trade news overnight. Obviously, we had a strong close at the high of the day yesterday, and that is showing continuation. So we potentially were going to look for that lower high. We didn't get it. We just saw a continuation. We actually saw the back test really nicely on the 4-hour chart. That looks like an 8 a.m. wick, so keep that on watch for today. But if we check in on exactly, if we check in on the daily chart, so we had this daily little equilibrium. It wasn't quite an equilibrium. We had slight higher highs, but we're getting clearly over those ranges now. We're going to be opening up around here, and you can see that due to the size of this pullback, there's very little resistance here. And so we're going to be watching, I believe there's one at 297.53, and then there's really nothing until 300 up on that daily chart. So plenty of room for SPY bulls to get their groove on. And the real thing is to be watching is when I was doing the whiteboard this morning, I was noticing which names are over these daily highs. So if I'm counting the high here, I know that SPY had hit over it a few times, so the chart's slightly different. But what I'm looking at is a lot of the names that I was watching, especially in the tech sector and even the banks too, their initial bounce was their highest. And then everything after that was actually a series of lower highs. And a lot of names, like IWM is still only testing its daily lower high from back here at 150. Tech sector is well over it as a whole. But individual names, Google, Amazon, Facebook, are all still under their initial bounce highs. And so they still have to clear those. If those start to clear this morning, that's going to only accelerate things for SPY as well. So keeping that on watch. Checking in on gold. So obviously with this market pop, gold finally pulling back, we still have this daily wedge on watch for gold. If it breaks, then I'll be looking for weekly consolidation and just looking for a healthy weekly higher low, given that this is let's show the 2-week chart. This is the 2-week chart for gold. Obviously, you can look for a healthy higher low, getting very stretched even from the 5-period exponential moving average. It is why I closed my gold position yesterday. I had a swing position on gold. That was on CEF. And obviously the chart was looking incredibly stretched here as well. I entered on this break of this little weekly bull flag here at 1750 and closed it out yesterday at 2050. And we can see that it's gapping down open with gold here too, just with the amount that we were stretched on the gold and silver move. I decided to exit that yesterday. So that was a nice solid swing trade lasting the past few weeks and pretty stress-free. So let us get into oil. Oh my God, I can't believe Netflix, ridiculous. So US oil, seeing continuation. So I have some wedge line here. I'm not sure why I have a line here, but I have it and we're playing right around it multiple times here. So 57.10 is going to be our clear resistance if we can get over 56.62 confidently. We just hit 66 but immediately pulled back from that. 57.10 is going to be our next resistance. Daily time frame. Why is that? Oh, okay, that's it's the bottom. That's what we're having trouble at. It's the bottom of this wedge. We keep back testing from the underside. If we can close getting over that, we're going to be looking up at, let's say, 57.35 as that top of that weekly downtrend range. And then, but getting over 57.11 will provide that daily trend change, but until we can really confidently be comfortable in the weekly potentially going bull here, we're really going to need over 58.79. Nat gas bulls pulling back from just under 250 psychological, topping out at 2463. 4-hour chart, still just fine for natural gas, holding on to the 4-hour 5-period exponential moving average. Potential bull flag, you could see there's that chopping out, but nice bounce happening, holding that. So 4-hour uptrend absolutely still intact for natural gas, and no worries there. Dollar, let's do dollar first and then Bitcoin. So dollar dumping. So interesting to note that normally we see a gold correlation with the dollar. We're not seeing that at all. We're like, there's no inverse correlation happening. They were both going up at the same time. So we thought, okay, maybe dollar pullback will only help gold bulls. Opposite has happened. So it's almost like dollars go back into stock. So the dollar comes down and then gold goes back into stock. So gold does it too. Anyways, 99.33 was our daily resistance now. And we've pulled back, setting 4-hour lower highs and lower lows. So daily, we're going to be watching 97.17 support. And we have a couple middle ones in there, 98 and 97.86. In the meantime, we're still watching this weekly wedge on the dollar as well, and anticipating that it's going to stay well within this channel. I did have a trend line on there. Let's get it back up. Something to the extent of this. So watching that uptrend line that it keeps rejecting from, got another rejection from it today. And you can see that we have this uptrend line as well, kind of a parallel channel here for the dollar. Bitcoin. So still a potential daily bull flag inside, well, it's a pennant more because it's an inside bar on the daily time frame. So we're going to be watching for the break of that at some point. I would prefer if today would close out as an inside bar and then see the break tomorrow to give short-term direction. For Bitcoin, weekly time frame for Bitcoin, there's something I'm watching as well. Obviously, everybody is with that weekly equilibrium. My preference would be if we had a... Actually, I like it better on the daily to show it. My preference would be that we have another daily lower high around 11,300. So bull flag into 11,300, pull back, maybe get a higher low around 10,400, and then get the break, because I wouldn't want to break out straight from here, but we'll see where we go from that. We could always break bearish too. TNDM. So let's get into some smaller term time frame setup. So TNDM, we are looking for a daily higher low to form last other support. It's not really the daily higher low, just given that these are all inside bars. Really anything over 56.69 is going to be a daily higher low. Unfortunately, that's very far away. So we're going to be watching 66.16 support, checking the hourly chart to see where we're sitting now. And we're having a slight gap up. So hourly, this is very healthy consolidation. You can see that kind of wedge happening. And we're going to be looking for that hourly trend change to indicate that our daily higher low has been set. Current support we're watching is going to be 67.37. ATVI had a monthly breakout and it's seeing continuation. Big gap up opening, big gap up open coming for ATVI. And bulls are on absolute fire. 4-hour chart. Broke out over here at $50 and has just been riding it up ever since, up 10% to the upside. Little lack of resistance here. I believe the next resistance is around 55.35 and then not much until 58 and 60. But obviously bulls getting a little bit overextended, but with that monthly breakout, you don't want to fight that. But obviously 4-hour RSI, we could use a nice little back test for a higher low, maybe a little profit taking in order to see that. Alta is the opposite. It is falling apart at the seams. So we had our earnings dump. We had our slight move higher, 241. Double bottom, we broke that bear yesterday. Support is now 227.30. And as far as the weekly time frame goes, 224.43. If we lose, it's actually pretty funny because with the weekly, we did technically lose the uptrend here, but this will give us like that monthly also loss. If we lose 224.43, then we're going to be looking down at 200 and 191 for Alta. Work had earnings last night and they dumped, so they're in black dirt breakdown now. Hourly time frame, bear. This is a potential 4-hour bear flag. Bulls will need to get over 27.45 double top in order. Bulls will need to get over 27.45 double top. Otherwise, this is going to be a bear flag. We'll confirm that by losing 26.55 and then the low of the move 25.84. Black Dirt Breakdown for work. Lift was another name that was in Black Dirt Breakdown, but changing the trend on the hourly time frame. So once it got over 46.80, trying to get that daily bounce heading underway, and we're going to be looking up at 49.09 resistance, seeing that nice little trend change. Daily time frame, we can see that we have just a series of lower highs and lower lows, and if we can't break 50.20, it's just going to be another lower high on the daily time frame. Bulls are going to want to close over the 5-period exponential moving average to get this daily bounce underway for lift. Shop bulls buying the dip as well. Although I saw it at 392 this morning, so not as hard as I thought they might be. So healthy daily consolidation, holding the 12-period exponential moving average 3 days in a row on shop. It's going to see if it can continue to hold that. Inside bar on the daily time frame for shop, break of 391.49 will be a bull break, and then we'll be looking back up for at all-time highs for 09.61, potential for a lower high compared to that, given that it's nearly $20 away. Dust is going to be having, so Dust had frustrating because it was just barely, but it did have a nice little bottom fishing play almost yesterday. It didn't quite work out as it did go lower, but with gold pulling back, we are seeing that. So 4-hour time frame, we can see that the wedge is happening. We can see that the 4-hour still needs a trend change. 6.819 is going to be resistance, and then 6.61 for Dust. We are coming straight off the lows. We'll need a higher low and higher high for continuation. Cron weak still, so we have the wedge. It tried to bounce, gave back the entire move. We need a higher low and a higher high. Support is 1071 and 1084. We need to break 1148 resistance. That's the high from the pump last night. Bulls would like to see, let's say, maybe another tightening range here with a higher low, maybe around, $11 or so, and then go up and break 1130 to see some daily bounce underway for Cron as well. But MJ still weak despite all of SPY strength is notable. Amazon is one of those names that I was talking about that has not broken its lower highs. We have resistance here at 1830.88, and then the high of the bounce move 1834.26. And so it has not quite broken that move yet, but look at us here on the hourly, on the 4-hour, we're overall exponential moving averages. It looks like the 5 wants to cross up on the 100 here, and it could be a decent move for bulls if they can see that continuation. Hourly is a bit overextended, but not really overbought at all yet. Last hourly support is going to be down at 1796, and we have a little one from pre-market, 1814.76. NVDA, same thing. NVDA's resistance 173.50, opening right at it. That's going to be its breakout on the daily level as well. And a few supports from pre-market, 171.55, and then we're going to be looking down at 167.34. Something just happened to Netflix. Somebody will tell me the news when they have it. Walmart, all-time highs, XBI. So XBI is still one of the weakest moves here. We barely have an hourly trend change, which we're nowhere near those daily lower highs, the same we are for other names. And so XBI, you can see this on the daily time frame that it's still incredibly weak. It is getting a little wedgy. The bounces are pretty good. We do have that lower high to be watching, 79.43. We're going to be over that. 80.85 and 81.52 are going to be our next resistances. Daily is going to need to close over this 5-period exponential moving average to get the bounce going. And once we do get the bounce going, they're still going to need a daily higher low and higher high, because we're coming straight off the bottoms here versus other names that are breaking their lower highs nicely. JDST basically going to be the same thing as Dust. We're opening much higher, and hourly time frame, 4-hour time frame, still looking for that trend change. Hourly bounce straight off the bottoms. Resistance is going to be 1269 and then 1292. FSLY. So FSLY, we had that nice bounce off the daily 5 EMA. We managed to hold it. We are potentially still looking for that daily lower high. Anything under 34.88 will give us that. SPY bulls, we'll see if that leads them to a higher high. Obviously, The best thing for FSLY would be a little bit more consolidation so that we would get a lower high here, a nice higher low, and then see a pattern break to give us a clear move, because I don't like playing things unless you just bought the dip off that 5. I don't like playing things when they get extended like that, because you can end up with just a slight higher high that doesn't follow through, and it can be frustrating. So type pattern would be better for FSLY bulls or bears. XAG USD. Yep. So XAG USD, so you can be watching a few different plays. So if you're looking shorter term, you can be watching from the last lows here. I would call, let's actually do the weekly. So weekly time frame, you could track it from here. Our last dip at 1590. That was the last solid move, so 1820. And then if you want for the entire move up, and then you see if anything overlaps. So it looks like 1765 and 1758 would overlap pretty reasonably well here, as far as looking, and that would also line up with the weekly 5 EMA once it came down towards it, maybe a little bit higher. So I'd probably be looking around somewhere between 1760 and 1790 on XAG USD weekly. Rig. Daily time frame, yeah, we can see potential bear flag on the weekly time frame, but we can see that it's trying for a trend change here over 472. We got over it slightly yesterday. Going to need some continuation. I'd be looking up at 523 for that move to play out. ENPH. ENPH, bullish reversal candlestick off the 50-day yesterday. We're going to be looking for confirmation with a break of 28.14. We're getting that first thing in pre-market. Next resistance, 29.89. I'll be looking for the 5 EMA as our first area of expertise. Ambulance Chasers on Netflix. Can't believe they did that. Straight down on Netflix. Wow. Well, under 285, Netflix does have room to 250 downside, so we'll see. Not right now, obviously. 5-minute incredibly oversold. I will be getting stopped out in about 12 minutes, so that will suck, but whatever. Such is life in the trading game. Look at oil. Happy I stopped out on my oil short yesterday because that is saving me. So always something to look forward to. And stop losses, sometimes they're always good in the long run. That's the truth. Stop loss is always good in the long run. OSTK. OSTK has my eye on it too. So obviously we're pulling back a huge part of this move. On the 2-week chart, we can see that we rejected from the 50-100 area and pulling back nicely. And you can still be scouting that weekly higher low. I mean, you can see it's getting a little wedgy here. We do have this kind of support line here that it's managing to hold, which I'm not unhappy about. Inside bar on the daily time frame, 1587 resistance break. And I'll look for a daily lower high. We do have a few more crosses to come potentially here. So it could be that we see one more leg to the downside. If I can get my entry back in the 14s, then I will be okay with that. Otherwise, I'm going to wait for a 4-hour trend change in order to take a shot at getting a position back in case we do get that weekly higher low. Yeah. I'm also still scouting. It turned out that my mom's order, when she bought it, tried to buy it in the 16s, didn't fill, although that would have been a really nice trade. So she's looking to get her long-term position back from selling in the 23s, 22 area. And I told her either wait for 14s or wait for a break of 1750. So that is her swing plan for OSTK. And then That's what I'm looking for. But hourly time frame, we need to get over 1589 to get this bounce going. And you can see that we had a bit of a double top here at 1587, 1585. Need to get over that 50 period on the hourly, and I'll look up at 1663. Cura has a nice little hourly equilibrium going here with 1033 resistance, and we're going to try to break that 1033 double top. And we're going to see if we can ride up this 5-period exponential. We're not overbought on the hourly time frame. There's still room to the upside. This was very healthy consolidation. Daily time frame, we're looking at doji, but we did back test and hold the 100. And we are going to see if we can get some further continuation for Cura bulls. If we don't and we pull back, then this could potentially be that weekly lower high on Cura. Yeah, so 1033 double top is very clear on Cura. MTCH, and support is going to be down at 9. The most important support on Cura is down at 988. MTCH daily time frame getting pretty tight here. It's a little choppy. I'm going to look at the 3-day time frame for clarity, and that's going to give it a little bit better here, which you can see the low, high, high, low, lower, high, higher, low, a bit, and riding up this 5-period exponential moving average. Bulls need to break 87.51 to look back at 95.32. SQ. SQ very weak, so getting a little bit of a bounce happening into the open here. However, hourly time frame, you can see that this is very weak compared to other names. It's really just grinding along the bottom side of this bounce. Resistance is going to be 62.69 and then 63.98. Support is going to be the low of pre-market 61.75 and then the low of yesterday 60.77. Much weaker on the weekly time frame. Aura. So a bit of a fake out here and then giving back that whole move. Potential daily head and shoulders pattern setting up on Aura. If we come back down again towards 79, 71 and then have a little bounce towards 73, there is a potential daily head and shoulders pattern coming. Indecision candle on the daily from yesterday, 71.44 support. Labu, I did XBI already. You're going to have to track XBI for Labu levels because they can change over time, but much weaker compared to SPY and all the other sectors. You guys obviously seeing a little bit higher open coming and going to be slightly pulling back. And same thing as you're basically tracking natural gas. So if whatever you did for natural gas, that applies for you guys. ACB. So pump after hours, not seeing any follow through, gave it the entire move back. And now we're going to be looking still for that daily chart to give us more clarity, because you can see that we're just rejecting from exponential moving averages on the daily time frame, and 586 is still our resistance. So 581, 586 hourly is going to need a trend change. Roku. Roku seeing a little pullback. There was a resistance at 171, 172 area. And we tapped 173 this morning, losing the 5-period exponential moving average and the 12 for the first time on the hourly in a while. I'd anticipate off the 20, we probably get a little bounce, but maybe a short from a bounce to a lower high here. GTI. I'm hoping you mean GTII. Daily chart setting up nicely for GTII. I'd anticipate if we can get a bull break over a 12.14 and 12.33 that we'd see a move to 12.54 up to this 50-day period exponential moving average resistance, and then we'll go from there. Support is going to be down at 11.89 and 11.66. Bulls are going to need some volume for continuation, but this is healthy daily consolidation, and if they can see a pop to the upside, that could look nice for GTII. OH. Nothing has changed since I wrote the whiteboard this morning. I gave my analysis, which is that we did close over the 50-day. I'm looking for a move up to the 100-day, 849. If we can break the high of yesterday, 820, I'm looking for 849. I have a line here at 866. That's my next target. And then the 0.38 fib on the weekly is 898. Support is going to be the low of yesterday, 765. If we fail to break 820 and pull back and break 765, we're going to be needing another daily higher low compared to 673. CGC. So MJ Bulls, same thing, rejecting from exponential moving averages. They need to break 25.43, and then I'll look up at the 20 period up near 26 area and need a daily trend change that doesn't look like a 3-day bear flag. I actually really love this chart here. This is fantastic. Look at this daily equilibrium forming up, 715, 711. I'm going to call that a double bottom. Bulls need to break 819 to break out over it. Looking good. I like this chart. So keep that on watch. Break of 819 would break this pattern, and then we could look up at 927. AMD also in a very tight range. 31.87 seems to be that key resistance. Multiple tops just under 32 and then 32.19. Bulls need to break that decidedly, I would say is the word that I want to use. So opening with a higher open, we're opening right near that resistance. We need to break it decidedly, and then they need to not pull back from it. They need to just like smash it. VFF. So VFF daily, higher open coming for it as well. We're going to be looking, we finally got that weekly higher low after a pretty heavy pullback. And resistance is going to be 1167, 1213. Obviously, this little 50-day here, if we can clear back over all exponential moving averages, that will be better. We're obviously going to be looking at this point just for a weekly lower high on VFF. But higher open is going to be a good start, and we're going to need to hold that. Hourly time frame, a little bit overbought, but not too bad. Not even over 70, so not disastrous. And here comes the open, IN.TO. IN.TO. So we saw that daily breakout. We saw continuation. Now we're pulling back. We've lost the hourly uptrend with this little bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern. Bulls are going to be looking to hold 33 and get a daily higher low. And then we're going to need to see continuation on the weekly chart. Otherwise, it will just be a weekly lower high. Pretty heavy pullback. I'd anticipate hopefully a bounce around 36.5 and get this 5 over 50 to cross upwards on a little lower high attempt. Goose. Oh, since the dump, I haven't looked at Goose at all. Wow, look at that bounce it had off those dumps. Holy man. I remember everyone was like trying to bottom fish it and it was just taking forever, and then look what it did. Wow. Anyways, giving back that whole move, which is going to give us a larger weekly equilibrium. Anyways, daily is looking good here. So if we can break out over 37.87, which we got over yesterday, and hold that, then what we're going to be looking for is that's hopefully going to be our weekly lower high, higher low, and then we're going to be looking for another lower high compared to 47.92. I did OSTK already. NEO still chart falling apart. The only thing that bulls can hope for right now is a higher low on the weekly time frame compared to 235, and we need to break this inside bar bullish 275 resistance and then close over exponential moving averages. If we break that, we're going to be looking up at 327 BBY. So here we go. Here comes the open. I'm actually going to be really interested if Netflix stops me out or not. My stop was just under 285, which means that I have not been stopped out of it. Oh, no, it stopped me out of it. Oh, it did. It hit just under open. It hit under 285. Ugh. That's always fun, but that's okay. Stop was where it was, and it stopped me at around 286, so we're good. Okay. It's probably going to bounce now, but I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to care. My stop is my stop, and I can always get back in, but don't really care to do that right now. And QCOM doing really well, so I'm going to be happy about that one because that was my other long that I entered yesterday in anticipation. I like the weekly setting up, and I like the potential weekly bull flag, and so I re-entered QCOM yesterday, and that one is doing nicely, so we will take it. Just be frustrated about Netflix and move on. Yeah, there's that bounce playing out. So big bounce, 15-minute exponential moving average being tested on Netflix right now. APHA is our strongest Canadian MJ name in some ways. And we're going to be looking, 680 is still resistance. We need a decided break over 680 to look up at 696. I have the 5, 10, 20, 50, and 100 on my chart. And then I have the 12 on my chart, which I use for my entries and exits if I am doing that. So I like the 5 a lot, and then I watch the others for crosses and for resistances and moves to those targets. But if I'm trying to make an entry on a pullback, let's say if we like go up super high and then I want an entry on a pullback, I'll try to get it off the 12 because I find that gives the best entries. And you can thank Crypto and Julian for his amazing 12 period exponential moving average tips and tricks. And anyone listening on Mixlr today can thank Chart Gal Lori for saving my butt this morning. Okay, so new on the daily time frame, bearish reversal candlestick forming first thing. Resistance was 799. We got over it. We're not doing it very decidedly. If we lose the 5-minute higher low pattern, then we know we're going to be looking for some healthy daily consolidation or even just hourly consolidation. No red flags right now, but it is a potential bearish reversal candle. SPY bulls heading up. Netflix giving back that move right off that 15-minute 5. QCOM bulls showing up. Woohoo! I like to see that. ATVI is a huge bull. Not surprised to see that follow through off that monthly trend change. So frustrated. I did have an ATI position from 50 and it got me stopped out. I think it stopped out here at this 46 range I was watching. It was frustrating because it is up huge. Getting back in over 50 should have been my play. I should have done it again. And that was my own mistake. QCOM doing very well. ATVI doing very well. So not being afraid to stop out and then get back in on a trade is important. I just forgot about it, to be honest. So Netflix dumping. Straight back down. New lows of the day for Netflix as SPY struggling at 287. Resistance. CGC going up and trying to test 25.43 is going to be that resistance on CGC. Oh, SPY has a Dinswick today, 294.04. It's close of yesterday, not surprising. Checking in on Amazon, seeing if it's getting follow through. Amazon still weak. You can see these weekly levels on Amazon, these weekly EMA resistances all clustered here. This is still a potential monthly bear flag on Amazon. Definitely going to need a decided break over 1835 to break that. Nah, not really a monthly bear flag, just kind of indecision. Trying to hold all monthly exponential moving averages. If it does that and then can break over 1835, Amazon could be looking for another potential move towards its all-time highs. I'd probably anticipate that we'd get that close over 1835, that break, and then all of a sudden news would come and everyone would say, look at the news on Amazon, it's going back to its all-time highs. And I'll say, no, it's because it closed healthy on the monthly and saw the bull break. But that's what happens. I can take a look at BBBY. Bed Bath & Beyond. Last time I checked, it was in black dirt breakout falling apart. So it was a nice dip buy apparently the last time I checked it. I think that's exactly pretty much where it was. Anyways, got very oversold on the daily. Might have actually been here. It was when Beyond Meat was at crazy levels and BBBY was at really black dirt levels. Daily time frame looking good. We have our daily trend change and we are looking for continuation. Going to try to close over this 50 period today. Resistance 973. Breaking that today. So $10 is going to be that clear resistance for BBBY. Last daily support 870. I missed KO and Twitter. So let's go back and do those. I apologize. KO. Yeah, 80.79 was my level for IIPR. SPY Bulls back to testing the high of the day. 297.53 going to be resistance for me after 297. KO daily inside bar forming. Back testing the 5 period. We are in a bit of a rising wedge. No red flag for the bulls just yet. We'd need to lose the daily higher lows at 54.60 for that. So no, but we are looking at an inside bar forming. And we'll see what the volume looks like to end the day. Dan making his day on Netflix. It looks like it double bottomed with the low of pre-market on Netflix. And there goes SPY over 297. So 297.53 next on SPY. There goes Amazon trying to get over new high of the day for Amazon. 1831, 1835 resistance. ENPH seeing nice follow through, but rejecting from the 5 period exponential moving average. So that we did have to keep an eye on. Gold losing its 4-hour uptrend. Twitter. Oh, QCOM just rocking. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that's a weekly bull break with QCOM, which is why I entered yesterday. Something about it was looking really good for a weekly bull break. Yeah, AMD is doing something weird. Okay, so QCOM, it's not quite a weekly bull break if you count 80.76 as the last lower high, but we did pull back from 79.10 and then come down and get another higher low at 72.52. And so we are getting higher than that. 79.10, so 80 and 80.76 resistance for QCOM. I liked how that weekly just back tested the 5 yesterday. Something looked really nice about it, which was why I took the entry, and it is just smoking through. So let's see if that QCOM weekly equilibrium, obviously it could easily top out here just under 80.76 and then pull back higher low. Last weekly higher lows at 67.12, so keeping that on watch, but it is doing good things right now. Thank you, QCOM. Okay, so Twitter breaking out on the daily time frame. We had this beautiful little pattern here with this lower highs. We broke out actually the other day, pulled back, tested that 5 period, and now breaking out further. Twitter daily looking good. Daily equilibrium breakout. Monthly time frame for Twitter, I believe, is still looking good, riding this 5 period up, and we're just looking basically at all-time highs 47.79. I didn't say whether Nugget might bounce. What I said was that GDX is still in a daily uptrend. We're looking for a higher low. However, it is looking rather wedgy, and with gold breaking down a little bit, we do have to be cautious that we might start seeing weekly consolidation. IIPR, I will show you what I was looking at. Is it getting there? Close, not quite there. Okay, so 5/50 crossing today on IIPR. I was watching the weekly time frame. There's a few things I've been watching. First is that we have this range of support here between 75 and 80 and 90 that acted as a big level here. And the levels I'm watching here was that 50 period, 80, 75. So I just said 81 because I don't know, where it's going to hit. But that was why I was interested in 81, because we do have all this choppy action here that I anticipate that we at least get a little choppy action out of it. I would be surprised if we dump straight through it. 81 with a stop under maybe, 8, maybe under 79 or something would be what I would look for a potential daily bounce to play out. Or the other option is you do what you should do, which is wait for some momentum in your favor, and you can wait for an hourly trend change, because right now we're just hourly lower highs and lower lows. But hourly will be plenty oversold if we get towards 81 soon, and I wouldn't mind that trade. QCOM. It's just rocketing higher. Apple. So Apple 214 resistance, hourly bull flag playing out from pre-market levels. Daily time frame breakout was over the 210.45 for that daily equilibrium. Next resistance is going to be, I believe, I'm going to double check it, but I believe it's 214.40. Just give me 1 second here. Resistance, 214.17 and 214.44. Yep. For Apple. KHC. KHC. Yeah, looking good here. Finally getting that follow through on some of those bounces. Man, this one took forever to bounce. Kind of like people in Stamp, but yeah. Anyways, so we had that new gap down. Daily breakout was over 25.85. Following through now. Next resistance, 26.67. We're over that. 27.79, 28.24. AMD, I'm telling you this, it did hit 32. And what did I say? They have to blast through it. And look what they're not doing. They're not blasting through it. They're sucking their way through it. 31.83. If it can close over 32, I'll be interested in AMD. If it cannot close over 32, then AMD is doing something weird. And I don't like it. Look at this. Such a pullback. Somebody's just not done with AMD, but bouncing nicely off the 50 period here. But you can see, look, it can't get a close. Look, a 5-minute chart, it can't close over 31.84. It's like 31.83 to 85, and it can't even close on that 5 minutes. Somebody is like trying really hard. Once it can close over that, I would anticipate that maybe we can get who's ever holding it down there to stop holding it down there, and it can see some follow through. QCOM, 80 resistance on QCOM now. Just getting excited about QCOM. SOX. SOX. Semiconductors looking good. NVDA strong. So despite AMD, obviously we're still getting that gap up and looking strong. I didn't check NVDA, but I believe it's much stronger this morning. Likely MU is too. Same thing. Huge gap up on there. So something's doing really well. Resistance is going to be 1583.90. LRCX. There's SPY goes with the new high of the day. Amazon new high of the day. Apple new high of the day. Netflix still sucking. LRCX, massive move on LR. Wow, look at this daily equilibrium. We had our lower highs broken and beautiful follow through on LRCX. SPY blasting through on that new high of the day, 297.53 resistance, pulling back right from that level. That was a weird candle on SPY. That was a weird candle on everything. It's like, hello, no. Yeah. It was like a 40-cent pullback on SPY. That was weird. So it seems, I would guess that there was news that just came out now because of that increased volume. So if somebody wants to check for news, because everything kind of just did that all at once. Everything went blasting up. It's not like AMD is like the weakest name that you can short. It's just really struggling at those resistances. It's not even the weakest semi or anything. Like the fact that the chart is holding up so close to all-time highs, like NVDA is down, 40% from all-time highs. AMD is not near its all-time highs. I think that it had from previous cycles or whatever, but like in terms of local highs in the past year, it's holding much closer. It just seems that it's being contained under that level for some reason. So I don't even know if it's really that it's a short so much as it's just not a long yet. QCOM recovering from that little dump. Amazon not though. Amazon new high of the day and then a big rejection. That was notable. Look how notable that was on Amazon. Anyways, anything over 18.15 will be a higher low, but really notable. But not QCOM. QCOM's at 80. Go, go, go. LRCX, measured move. Weekly time frame I was trying to check out to find something for you here. 234.88 resistance on LRCX. No, the only one I was watching was 297.53. We kind of tapped that and came back down. But other than that, there is not any meaningful resistances between SPY and 300. I think there was like a 300 and a few cents, but not much, no. QCOM over 80, 80.76 next resistance. So I like to think that I saw big moves in Netflix and QCOM coming yesterday. I just got Netflix the wrong direction and QCOM the right direction. Those were my two purchases yesterday. So Amazon now recovering from that, still holding 5-period exponential moving averages. Possible we're getting our 5-minute higher low there at 18.19. Amazon range has been very poor the past number of days. It's like we'll get a gap up and then a poor range and then a gap down and then a poor range. And so the intraday trading on Amazon has been very ugly. SPY heading right back up towards those highs. LRCX going with it to 834 resistance. Google over 1200. Google. Okay, so I have to check the difference between that and the other because I always chart Google. And Google had a triple top essentially at 1204, 1205, and 1206. And it looks like GOOG has that same triple top at 1205, 1206, yeah, and 1205. So breakout level is over 1205 for me for GOOG. SPY right back up towards those highs, so bulls buying that dip up pretty hard. Came back down, tested the 5 just on the 2-minute time frame. NVDA daily time frame was trying to get a clear, nice breakout and break its pattern. So if it's up over 173, then NVDA is going to be looking great, and it is. And NVDA, this is a potential weekly breakout for NVDA. So we have our high here, 170. Oh, this is 178.89. If we get over 178.89, we're going to be looking back up at 193 for NVDA. So looking great on NVDA weekly chart for a trend change here, trying for it. QCOM. Oh my goodness. QCOM. Look at this QCOM 2-minute chart. It's amazing. Look at this QCOM 2-minute chart. The best looking chart ever. Yeah, NVDA was trying yesterday, and there was definitely clues yesterday. Gosh darn it, look at this QCOM chart. I actually almost bought NVDA. That was my third choice yesterday, and I didn't do it. And I wish I chose that over Netflix, obviously, but such is life. SPY, new high of the day, or testing high of the day, I should say. New high of the day on SPY. Look at this 2-minute chart. Oh, man. QCOM plus.c. Hooyah. Plus weekly time frame looking good here. It's actually trying weekly inside bar on watch. It's trying here. If we can close this week as an inside bar, then break 435 next week, that will look good for a higher low on the weekly time frame. Which reminds me, I want to check in on OSTK, which is still doing a whole bunch of nothing. SPY, new high of the day following through decidedly. Apple not seeing a new high of the day just yet. Google still not over 1205, and Netflix still being a dumpster fire. Hooyah. There's no other way to pronounce that. I apologize. HUYA. Weekly time frame looking really good. This is another potential one. Weekly equilibrium forming on this one, and we know that it likes to move. I actually don't mind this one at all. You could even potentially say that it broke over the downtrend line, back tested. I don't really like that idea. I like it better as a lower high and then continuation. 2638 key resistance on HUYA. HUYA, TLRY. So TLRY, seeing continuation today. So is CGC. Trying to get over the 5 period on the weekly. Nice bull break over the highs of pre-market 30.50, 31.55. Obviously, daily time frame was still pretty beat up. We are seeing a pretty decent bounce. What is that? Like a 20%, more than 20%, 25%, 30% bounce already. From 25 now to 32. So really nice bounce. Continuation, testing the 20 period, exponential moving average resistance 32.40. And we just did get slightly over that, but obviously pulling back under it. Slack, new lows. So black dirt breakdown, 25 psychological. I'm going to assume it's still holding that, but it might not be. So, well, it is. Trying to get a bullish reversal candlestick going on the daily time frame. I will anticipate that it's actually going to be a price discovery day and not see crazy movement. I don't anticipate a crazy candle on Slack today. QCOM getting 2-minute consolidation finally. A little 2-minute bull flag. But we are rejecting under 80. That was a potential top fish play. So 80.76 is that weekly resistance with a stop over 81, let's say. That is a potential top fish play, although this kind of momentum, I don't really like fighting it, but there is that top fish potential there on QCOM for that weekly lower high to still hit. Although because when things are more spaced apart on the weekly, my preference is, instead of playing against the weekly resistance, because you could break it by a couple cents and then pull back, my preference is waiting for a short-term trend change at the weekly resistance, like right near it, and then using your more local high as your stop. That would be my preference for playing that. Can't believe nobody's asked about Roku. Let's check in on Roku, crazy boy. The Roku, crazy master. Is it pulling back with Netflix or is it not? It is. So 173 high of pre-market, pulling back rather nicely from there. 164.43. Haven't even touched the 5 period on the daily time frame. Inside bar still healthy for the bulls on Roku. No red flags for them unless we would see. Well, we didn't bounce off that 20. Support is all the way down at 158.55 for Roku. That would be the only thing I would say, is be patient, because you know once some of these moves top out, they can rug pull on you pretty fast. Let's double check in on IIPR. Speaking of which, doesn't mean I'm lonely when 83 as the low, $2 bounce off 83. Still has work to do. So again, this is one where you could wait for that trend change and see if it can close over exponential moving averages on the hourly, which it can't. 85.71 resistance on IIPR over that. And then we're looking back up at 92.62. Roku's like the anti-SPY. SPY goes down, Roku goes up. SPY finally goes crazy and Roku's like, eh. Apple also still struggling with the highs of the day. NVDA is so strong. Twitter looking just fine. I'm glad that Neo got some money. I had read some things that like the CEO was having to put in his own like money to finance it. So that's never good. NVDA monthly starting to look very interesting here. Frustrated I don't still have my long position, but look at how it back tested and held both times over this pivot I was watching, 154.45. Oh, it's looking pretty interesting. Hourly time frame, obviously not time to buy right now. Crowd dumping on high volume. Neo, I can't tell you. The Neo chart needs to change. For me, it's all about how the charts react to any news. So obviously reacting well to the news. I mentioned this morning a break of the inside bar was going to look good for Neo. It looks like we broke that. Getting over 275 was the signal. So Neo doing well on that. But daily time frame, we still need to get. Yeah, I wanted to break 275. We did that. So that looks great on Neo. We're still rejecting from the 20 period exponential moving average. Obviously, we still need a trend change, but looking better for Neo here. IIPR trying to front run my 81 with 83 here. I would still be interested in IIPR potentially over 80. Just breaking that now. Spread is nasty on IIPR. Woo. Kind of interested in IIPR right now. Still some heavy asks on it, but not looking bad. Just closed over that hourly 5. Not the worst area. Such a brutal spread on it. You're looking at like a 50-cent spread on it. It's just pretty gnarly. Yeah, I understand. What I'm saying is for long investment, you need to do your own due diligence on long investments. All I can look at is the chart and say, okay, if the chart is going to take that investment good and get a daily trend change, then there's no reason not to play it, and you just use your stops appropriately. As far as what the 200 million placement means for the long-term nature of the company, you'd have to look into the company's financials and into the company's long-term prospectus, and that's not something that I can provide for you. SPY continuing to see new highs and Roku continuing to see new lows. BYND. Bulls buying that hourly dip up hard on BYND. Resistance right here, 166.42. Getting over that, we're looking up at 169.31 daily time frame. Looking good, healthy consolidation. 165.50 was breakout level. 169.31, 172.29 resistance. IGC. Okay, so IIPR now seeing some follow through over that level. Going to be watching 87.40 next. IGC, I mean, it's trying for this wedge. We'd need to get over 117. I hate charts like this that are clear pump and dumps because they'll pump and then they'll just give back the entire move again. But 109 resistance. If it can break 109, then we'll look at 117. Support is going to be down at 105 inside bar. Amazon new high of the day, SPY 298. CGC going for a 15-minute bull flag. So we got over those levels on CGC. Now we're going to need to get over them convincingly. Next resistance I'll be watching is going to be up in the 26 and then about 26.50. Netflix still dumpster firing. Nugget, please, 1 hour oversold. Sorry, I definitely missed that. So Nugget, you're going to be watching here, 38.69, whatever that level is on GDX. I believe it's about 29.39. And the key thing here is that Nugget broke to higher highs, no follow through. We do have this rising wedge. If we break this daily higher low pattern, that's going to be the first time we do that, and that's going to be notable. And so I'm going to be way more patient buying the dip, knowing that we could see a move back down into the 34s if we break those levels. It doesn't mean I'm lonely. 5-minute bull flag on QCOM. Netflix trying to hold its low of the day. 15 minutes, still rejecting from the 5-period exponential moving average. So the only nugget play for me with hourly oversold is barely oversold, is bottom fishing that level. And if that level breaks, I am hands off. I don't care if it's hourly oversold. I'll wait for it to get, we know that weekly consolidation can come at any time now for it. Half a new low of the day. OH new high of the day. Forgot to watch OH today. OH 824, but still a rejection. Spreads are still bad on it, unfortunately. Kira new low of the day? Let's check in on Kira. Okay, Netflix trying to get its bounce underway. It finally broke 5-minute lower highs or 2-minute lower highs. But still a very weak chart. Kira, clear bear break under 10.05, seeing follow through. 988 was support, still bouncing off 988. If that breaks, there's a lack of support until 947. XCU USD. Qu'est-ce que c'est ça? XCU USD. Is that a crypto? Copper. I don't know why I didn't know that ticker for copper. Hourly bull flag on copper, holding the five period exponential moving average. Obviously, hourly is very overextended, bearish divergence forming. However, no red flags yet. 261899 support, and below that 258132. Let's go to a higher time frame, and we can see daily wedge, little mini wedge here, breaking out. It's going to try to close over the 50-day. We are going to need a higher low and a higher high on the daily time frame for copper. Apple pulling back a little bit more here compared to SPY. SPY is still at the high of the day and Apple is not. Let's check in on the banks and XBI. Banks, so banks over that high beautifully. Even if you played just that high, 27.27, 27.31, there was a nice trade on the banks there. 27.27, we opened right at that resistance, broke it, and seeing only follow through. Banks near the high of the day right now. That is what is helping SPY so nicely. Yeah. Well, SOX I looked up, and SOX was up super nice, so I'm not surprised that SOXX is up just as much. CGC giving back a little bit more than it would like to, but still fine on the hourly, still over all exponential moving averages. AMD dumping, so there was something on AMD. It just can't hold that level. It is so clear. Look at it. It just can't hold that level. You can see all the resistances here. And then right there. And you can see what happened too. Look at it every single time. It was resistance here, exactly here, 3204. We got over it, and then we were able to trade above it. And then the gap down below it, as soon as we broke it, straight down. Got above it, looked like we were going back to all-time highs, straight below it, straight down. You can see how important that level is for AMD. Every time it breaks above it, it has a nice move, and every time it gets back below it, they just can't sustain anything, and they dump down. Very interesting level on AMD. VFF on the TSX. So definitely a key level is 32. It's like a battle there. It's like the shorts get squeezed over and then the longs get squeezed under. Interesting, interesting. VFF. So daily indecision candle, we are right at that 50-day, which we were talking about. We needed to see follow through, but we also know that we can, at some point, hourly was overextended, and then we can come back and set a higher low. 1556 resistance. There's a lack of resistance after it. So it's just a matter of what the hourly chart is going to give us. And right now the hourly chart is perfectly healthy. Inside bar forming, support is going to be 1520, and we're still holding well above the hourly exponential moving averages. So no red flags yet. Anything over 1430 will actually be an hourly higher low as SPY hits a new high of the day. And Apple does not, and Apple is still coming back. So banks are hitting the new high of the day with SPY holding it strong. So it looks like NVDA and SPY are probably, NVDA and the banks are doing good things there. SNDL. And oil not hurting either here. SNDL needs a trend change on the daily time frame. Bulls need over 830. Otherwise, we're just looking at another bear flag rejecting from the exponential moving averages on the daily time frame and heading back down. Little double bottom here, 772, holding that inside bar 776. So 770 level trying to hold, but we're going to need a trend change to confirm. So Kira is holding that level of 988. So again, Kira has these levels that people really hold strongly to. It's like 963 was one, 863 was one of those levels. Once it broke, it gave up. 938 was one of those levels, and now 988, one of those levels that it really seems to react to. So Kira definitely paying attention to those levels. IIPR. Yeah, so we were watching the same thing at 81. SPY new highs, NVDA pulling back. So it's definitely the banks right now because so many other names I'm watching pulling back. NVDA, 5-minute bull flag. Testing 5-period exponential moving average. Obviously, we'd like hourly higher lows for anything to get entries on because everything's a little bit overextended with supports pretty far away. Netflix now on a tear. Yeah, obviously. So Netflix, once it broke those 2-minute lower highs, that was the go signal apparently. Yep. So we can see here that Netflix was getting very tight on the 5-minute and 2-minute, and you can see that it had that. And once it broke these little highs here, 285.80, it was just off to the races since then. IIPR following through nicely right now. I did make an entry on that break of 85.75. And my stop is going to be under 83, and I'm going to hopefully hold that for a swing position for that daily lower high. And SPY is just ripping. It's like XLF goes up 1%, SPY goes up 1 cent, SPY goes up 10. NVDA bull move off that 5-period. OH making another go for it. looking, so trying to get 806 as its new 5-minute higher low. SPY is still ripping higher. IIPR following through even more now. Let's see how it reacts. So we said the 20 period, 87.55. So let's see how IIPR reacts at 87.55. And let's see what my target is going to be on this trade, because I was kind of not paying a lot of attention. Going to be targeting 90. $95.87. But we'll see first what happens at 87.55. Obviously, we're going to need still a trend change, hourly, higher, low, higher, high. So I'm going to just be patient with that one, stick my stop under 83 and call it a day. SPY, yeah, XLF up 1, SPY up 10. QCOM, 5-minute bull flag playing out, 80.43 resistance. Nugget for an oversold bounce. So I mentioned that you could be potentially looking, but if this daily wedge breaks down on GDX, we lose the higher lows, that we know that we can get extra oversold. So yes, you could be looking for a short-term bounce. However, things can always get extended once you break those levels. We are at that level right now. That's 29.39. If that breaks, we've broken the daily higher low pattern, and I'm going to be potentially looking down all the way at 27.61 for GDX as its next support. And as far as the weekly time frame goes, I'm going to be watching for that test of the 5-period exponential moving average. That's going to be down at 29.11. So while it might have a short-term bounce, I would prefer to wait until it was entirely more beat up as far as the weekly chart goes. Oil, cup and handle, follow through. Netflix follow through. There's Netflix right back to 290. Never had to take a loss. But stops are stops, and we respect them. Roku, so beautiful off that 171. So if I can't explain a trade, I usually don't talk about it, because if I don't know the method by which somebody used to get it, then it's not my own analysis and I can't really do anything about it. But I did see something about 171 area being a resistance, and now we're pulling back nicely from it. So that's kind of cool. It was some sort of pivot method, and that's neat. GDX still falling, so GDX testing that level now. I really don't like GDX here. A 5 minutes going to be oversold, but we just lost that daily uptrend. So just be very careful with how you're playing those entries. Netflix bouncing nicely. Netflix, $4 bounce on that break of the 2-minute lower highs. Beautiful trade on Netflix. I would have re-entered it there, to be honest. It would have been right where I stopped back out. If I wasn't live, that would have been good for an entry. Amazon, SPY, October calls paying off. CL, QCOM testing high of the day again, with SPY just ripping higher and GDX breaking support. And US oil. So I don't do CL because I don't have the real time for you. So I'm going to do US oil, breaking key daily resistance here, 57.20. We're going to be looking up at 58.36 now on oil. So hourly, 4 hours overextended, bulls don't care. And all of that is helping SPY. OH now losing that 5-minute uptrend. Roku pulling back so nicely. I would be interested in Roku if it got down to 160s. SPY 60-minute RSI broke 80. Amazon rocket ship. So Amazon is only interesting to me if it can get over 1831, and it did. So there we go. There's that break, little hourly cup and handle on Amazon getting over 1831, and Amazon daily chart just started looking a heck of a lot better. It's not a short squeeze. This is a daily equilibrium breakout on SPY. We are range bound for so long, and we can't expect that you're going to, when you, every range bound move is a base. You have to understand for SPY, okay? So SPY was, like Dan said, I didn't really listen, but from what I gather from what Dan said yesterday, SPY has been range bound with fear levels. Like SPY was at a weekly higher low with fear levels matching the December lows. It's hard to sell into that. So as soon as SPY broke out of its daily range, yeah, we're going to see a huge move. This is not an unreasonable or unexpected move for SPY when it breaks over that key level of out of the daily equilibrium that we've been watching play out for 3 weeks now, that it's going to have a $4 move. That's absolutely reasonable for SPY. I mean, we're near, like, we were basically near all-time highs in a weekly uptrend, and fear was at max. Look at GDX falling apart. RSI on the 5-minute, absolutely not mattering. That is what I was concerned about with the bounce play. I hope people held off on it because of that. Because there's the follow through that I was looking for, and I will still be looking lower. I don't care that hourly is oversold. I need it more oversold. It's not oversold enough for me to be interested. And there's Amazon continuation. So there's the Amazon move we were looking for. We knew it needed to catch up. I'm going to assume Google caught up, although I can't say. IO, if it broke the daily equilibrium, the play is that you get in now, and then you get in when it breaks, but you get in with a smaller position knowing that you're swinging it for that daily equilibrium. Ooh, double top on QCOM at 80.44. You just get in, maybe you can take a half a position and then buy the other half on the higher low is one strategy you can take, or you just have a slightly smaller position knowing that it's going to do that. Netflix was a nice short off 290 there. Lori asked me this morning for a bull day. I hope this is what she was hoping for. And finally seeing some healthy 5-minute, I think this is a 2-minute chart, 2-minute consolidation on SPY. Anything over 297.49 will be a higher low on SPY. GDX now getting its bounce underway, but only for a 5-minute, just looking for a 5-minute lower high into exponential resistance. At least tap the 5 period, which you can see has been driving the price down this entire time. ATVI reversal setting up for daily healthy consolidation. So profit taking on ATVI. And let's get back on the 5-minute chart. So now it's long enough into the day that I'm going to switch back over to the 5-minute chart for SPY. And we can see that we're just looking for a higher low. That we're just testing 5-period exponential moving averages right now. Feeling very good about Yeah, natural gas is at 10:30 and oil will be at 11. Feeling good about exiting my gold yesterday, and then I will be patiently waiting to re-enter that. Wow, it actually dumped really nicely. I sold yesterday at 2050 and now we're looking down. It's at 1971, so that was a solid exit. Solid exit. So again, support 297.49. That's on the 2-minute time frame. Really, anything over the low of the day, 296.64, will be a 5-minute higher low for SPY. And then Amazon. So SPY's pulling back, and Amazon just discovered its mojo a little bit. There's GDX back testing. So we had that little back test back to the low that it broke where we saw the flush. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Double top on QCOM. So it's definitely still a potential top fishing play off that weekly equilibrium on QCOM. If we lose 79.96, we'll have lost that higher low after a double top, and you can have a clear stop over 80.44. But otherwise, IPR looking for follow through, still testing that 87.55 20 period exponential moving average. We're going to need an hourly higher low and a higher high to confirm that. SPY just looking for a healthy higher low. And I will be back in 15 minutes to continue coverage live in the chat room. And I will see you guys soon. Thank you all.